Welcome back to another heart-touching story here on our channel, where real emotions meet unforgettable confessions. Broken heart, if you love stories that make you feel, think, and sometimes question the thin line between right and wrong, then you're in the right place. Raising hands, don't just watch, join our growing family by hitting that subscribe button right now. Bell turn on notifications so you never miss the next story, because every week, we share moments that remind us how human we truly are. Speech balloon. Your likes, comments, and shares help more people find stories that speak to their hearts. Red heart. So sit back, relax, and let today's story take you somewhere unexpected, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you see love, loyalty, and temptation. I never thought a simple visit to my in-laws would leave me questioning everything about my marriage, my morals, and myself. What started as an innocent moment turned into a storm of emotions I never saw coming. If you think you've seen everything in family drama stories, wait till you hear this one. I remember that weekend clearly. My wife had insisted we spend some days at her parents' place. Her brother had just returned from abroad, and everyone was excited to see him. He brought along his first son, Daniel, a tall, quiet young man in his early 20s. At first, I didn't think much of him. Just another relative, polite and respectful. But something about him stood out. He carried himself with quiet confidence, always helping around, always with a faint smile that seemed to know more than it should. That Saturday afternoon, everyone was busy in the kitchen preparing for dinner. I decided to step outside to catch some air. Daniel followed me, holding a football. "Uncle, you still got some game left in you?" he asked with a grin. I laughed, taking off my slippers. "You're about to find out." We started playing, just casual passes and light kicks, but the laughter, the teasing, and the shared energy somehow felt different. It wasn't about the game anymore. It was the unspoken familiarity that caught me off guard. I noticed how he looked at me sometimes, not as a nephew would, but as someone curious, observing. And for the first time, I felt something stir inside me that I didn't understand, or maybe didn't want to. The next morning, I woke early before everyone else. The house was quiet, and I went to the backyard to stretch and get some air. To my surprise, Daniel was already there, doing push-ups. "Couldn't sleep either?" I asked. He smiled without looking up. "Just trying to keep fit, Uncle." I joined him, doing a few stretches nearby. For a moment, there was silence, except for the sound of our breathing. I glanced at him, and that's when I noticed, he seemed uneasy, as if something had just crossed his mind too. It was subtle, but it changed the air between us. Something unspoken yet unmistakable. I quickly turned away, pretending not to notice. The moment passed, but my thoughts didn't. Later that day, he avoided eye contact. I caught myself watching him more than I should have. It wasn't attraction, it was confusion, curiosity, and the strange realization that I wasn't in control of what I was feeling. The third day felt heavier. My wife and her family went to the market, leaving Daniel and me at home. We sat watching a football match, both pretending to focus, but neither of us really did. "Uncle," he said suddenly, "can I ask you something personal?" "Sure," I replied, my heart skipping a beat. He hesitated, then said, "How do you know when something you feel is wrong, even if it feels right in the moment?" The question hit deeper than he realized. I looked at him, unsure what to say. His eyes held mine for a second too long, then he looked away. We didn't talk much after that. But the silence spoke louder than words. Every glance, every accidental touch when we passed each other in the hallway, it carried weight. Guilt. Questions neither of us could ask. That evening, we played another short game in the compound, like before. Only this time, the energy felt charged. Every laugh felt like a release of tension we both tried to hide. At one point, he stumbled and grabbed my arm for balance. It was brief, but enough to feel a spark that shouldn't have been there. He quickly apologized, his face flushed. I brushed it off with a smile, pretending it meant nothing. But deep inside, I knew the truth, we had both crossed a line. Not physically, but emotionally. That night, I lay in bed beside my wife, unable to sleep. My mind kept replaying the day, wondering how something so innocent could turn so complicated. The next morning, it was time to leave. Daniel helped me load the bags into the car. We didn't talk much. But just before I got in, he said quietly, "I'll never forget this week." I nodded, unsure of what to say. My chest felt heavy with unspoken words. As we drove off, I caught his reflection in the rearview mirror, watching us leave, his expression unreadable. Back home, I tried to shake it off, to forget. But I couldn't. That unintentional connection had opened something inside me, a reminder of how fragile our emotions can be, how quickly boundaries can blur when we least expect it. Even now, months later, I think about that week. Not because of what happened, but because of what didn't. Sometimes the most dangerous stories are the ones that stay silent. This story is a work of emotional fiction inspired by real human experiences. It explores the complexity of feelings, guilt, and moral choices in relationships. No explicit acts are described, and all characters are fictional. Sometimes, life doesn't need grand betrayals or open confessions to test your heart. Sometimes, it's the quiet moments that shake your soul the most. That one weekend at my in-laws' home taught me something I'll never forget. Not every connection is meant to be understood, and not every temptation needs to be acted upon. Some feelings are meant to remain unspoken, hidden in silence, where they can't destroy what you've built. What happened between me and Daniel wasn't a scandal, it was a mirror. A mirror that showed me how fragile loyalty can be, how easily a human heart can wander, and how quickly boundaries can blur when kindness and closeness meet in the wrong place. I didn't lose my marriage that day, but I did lose a part of my certainty. I learned that sometimes the most dangerous emotions are the ones that never cross the line, because they stay with you, echoing in the corners of your mind long after the moment has passed. Thought balloon. In the end, we all face choices that define who we are, not by what we feel, but by what we decide not to do. If this story touched something deep inside you, take a moment to reflect, and share your thoughts below. Love letter. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another true confession that speaks to the soul. Folded hands, because here, every story isn't just told, it's felt.